Okay, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. Today's a beautiful day. So it says in Gemara, yesterday we were saying that the reason that the shulchan is mekabel tumah is because even though it's wood, it's movable. We said, why do we have to go there? Why don't we just say that it's mekabel tumah because it's covered in gold? And even if you say that it's not nailed in, we said that there's no difference if it's nailed in or not nailed in. So why do we have to go to the fact that it's movable? Says the Gemara, so maybe you could say what? That the atzei shitim, the expensive wood that the shulchan was made of, is so chashiv that it can't be batel to the gold. Therefore, again, it's not going to become like gold. Therefore, it's not going to be mekabel tumah out the fact that it's gold-plated. And therefore, the only reason that it's going to be mekabel tumah is because it's movable. Says Gemara, that only works that only works according to Reish Lakish, who says that the wood, which is kli achzalgus, is cheap wood, and that's batel. Aval kli mesames chashive, which is valuable, like the atzei shitim of the mizbeh of the shulchan. V'lo badli shapir, it's not batel. Therefore, again, it's not batel to the gold plate. Even though it's gold plated, we don't consider it to be gold. We consider it to be wood, since it's expensive. And therefore, the only reason it's mekabel tumah is not because it's gold plated. The reason it's mekabel tumah is because it's movable. El Rabbi Yochanan de Amar kli mesames. But if you hold like Rabbi Yochanan, who says that even expensive wood is batel to the coating, then if it's plated with a gold coating, then it should take the characteristic traits of the gold, and therefore it should be mekabel tumah, regardless of whether it's movable or not. Why do you have to come to the whole discussion of being movable? It says because even if you say that in general any type of wood is batel to the gold plating, by the shulchan it specifically calls it eitz in the Torah. And therefore, we're going to hold that even if you hold that expensive wood is batel, by the shulchan it will not be batel to the gold plate. Therefore, it's not like gold. Therefore, it's not mekabel tumah als the gold. Therefore, why exactly is it mekabel tumah? Like we said yesterday, it's only mekabel tumah because it's movable, which they moved again when the olei l'regel, when they lifted up the shulchan to show the people that came for the regel. Shenemar mizbeach 8 shalosh amos gavoa arko 2 amos umiksoas lo, the corners of arko v'kiros of its walls 8. Talking about the mizbeach, and also vaydaber elai zeh shulchan asher lifnei Hashem. So you see that it calls the mizbeach and the shulchan eitz, even though the truth is the mizbeach wasn't really eitz, right? Well, maybe talking about the mizbeach, maybe talking about the mizbeach, the inner mizbeach, the inner mizbeach maybe, but the outer mizbeach was not eitz. As we're going to discuss today, the inner mizbeach was made out of the outer mizbeach was made out of like lime and tar and stones and stuff. Maybe the inner mizbeach, but either way, you see that the shulchan was eitz. It's called eitz. Therefore, what? Therefore, it's not going to be batel to the gold, even though one would say that usually it should be batel to the gold, and therefore it shouldn't be mekabel tumah al to gold. Why is it mekabel tumah? Only because it's movable. Says the Gemara, parenthetically, an interesting limud patach mizbeach v'siyem b'shulchan. The fact that it has mizbeach and shulchan in the same sentence. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Zev Spitz tavar b'zman shebeis hamikdash kaim mizbeach mechaper al adam v'asher beis hamikdash kaim shulchano shel adam mechaper alav. It used to be that the mizbeach was mechaper for your sins, and now the shulchan, as Rashi says, even though there are different interpretations, having guests on your table is mechaper for your sins. Arbet snipin shel zav hayusham. If you remember yesterday, so there was one other picture over there. It was a few daf ago. We said that you have this picture where you have the 4 gold stands over here, and then you have the rods that are going across, and they're going into pegs. And we said that the rods, basically, the bottom on the shulchan itself, you'd have the first of the lechems. You actually have the things here, and then there would be rods across to hold, and then each one of the breads would be indented on the bottom, and you'd slide them on the rods, and then there'd be like a tiny space seemingly between the breads. So the rods kept them. So we said that there were 28. We didn't understand why there were 28. If you say that there's 6 breads, that means that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 between, right? So then if there's 3 at each, then there's 5 times 3 and 5 times 3, because 6 and 6 is 30. If there was 2 between each, then it was 10 and 10 is 20. Where do you get the number 28? Where do you get 28 rods from? Says the Gemara says, Minani Mili, Amar of Katina, Amar Krav, Asisa Karosav, Kaposav, Uksosav, Menikiotav. What is this? Karosav Elu Diffusin. You have to have molds in which the bread was formed and kneaded and baked. Kaposav Elu Bazikin. You have to have frankincense, spoons of frankincense on the lachem apanim. Ksosav Elu Snipin, these gold props again. These gold walls on the sides of the shulchan. Umenikiosav elu kanim. You have to have these rods. Asher yusach behen. What are the purpose of the rods? Shemisachin behen es alechem. The rods cover the loaves beneath them. Right. That's what we said. The rod will make sure that that this thing is not necessarily resting directly on the loaf underneath it. Says Gemara something interesting. Mosiv Rav asked a question. What did we say yesterday? Lo sider akanav lo nitzilas on dochas haShabbos. You said you can't remove the rods or put the rods on. You were basically taking the same rods, but you couldn't do that on Shabbos. So what would you do? You'd have to remove the rods between the breads before Shabbos, and you'd have to put them back into the new breads after Shabbos, which would mean that for Shabbos, the breads would basically be resting one on top of each other. Again, they're not resting directly on top of each other. We said that there's a 2 tefach or 2.5 tefach thing like this, so they were basically, the sides were resting on each other, but there was still a hole, right, you could see through, if you remember from yesterday. The question is, though, so what's the problem? Well, what was the purpose of the rods? To prevent mold. So how can you leave it, even though, again, it wasn't going to become moldy anyway, because it was all a nace, but according to the Derech HaTeva, you were going ahead, the whole discussion is assuming Derech HaTeva, that you were putting the rods there in order to prevent mold. How can you leave them without rods from Friday afternoon until Motzei Shabbos? Says the Gemara, V'isal Gedaitel D'Oraisa Mayin Docha Shabbos. The first question is, if you tell me that we learned that you need rods from a pasuk, then the source of the rods is a Deoraisa. If the source of the rods is a Deoraisa, is the Torah, then why can't it be Docha Shabbos? If it's Derabanan, I understand. Seemingly the reason that you can't touch the rods on Shabbos, as Rashi says, is probably only Midirabanan in the first place. It's probably only a Muksa problem. Maybe it's a Deoraisa problem of Bona. But still, at the end of the day, if it's a pasuk that says you need these rods, so then why can't it be Docha Shabbos? Hadam Rav alav milsahu diamrei. Rav admits, I asked the question, and it's not a great question. Why? Ditnan klal amar Rabbi Akiva kol malach asher shalal laso sameir Shabbos and a Docha Shabbos. Because we said yesterday, you only do malacha, even if it says in the pasuk, you only do malacha on Shabbos. That's necessary to do on Shabbos. You can remove them yesterday. V'hani nami yesher delodachi Shabbos alayu. Time and why? Why can you go ahead? You can remove them yesterday. Why? Halo liafe shlechem. Again, what was the purpose of these things? To prevent these what? That doesn't get moldy. Says, why? Yes, theoretically, if it's based on a pasuk, you can do it on Shabbos. But why do you have to? The whole purpose of these rods, again, were to separate these different breads. So if you separate them even a tiny bit, they're not going to become moldy. Again, assuming that they would become moldy otherwise. So if you pull out the rods and now they're resting on top of each other, says the Gemara, you don't have to do it on Shabbos because it's not going to be resting on top of each other for so long. When are you switching the breads? You're switching them on Shabbos afternoon. Let's say Shabbos midday. So how long are the breads, the old breads, going to be on top of each other? From Friday afternoon right before Shabbos until Shabbos midday. And then the new breads are going to be there from Shabbos midday until Motzei Shabbos. It's not that many hours. It's a few hours, 12 hours, whatever it is. Therefore, Lamaisa, again, from Friday afternoon, because you're switching the breads. You're taking out the breads in the middle of the Shabbos day. So from Friday night until Shabbos morning, let's say, is whatever, 18 hours, whatever it is. And then from Shabbos afternoon until after Shabbos is 6 hours, whatever it is. So at the end of the day, what's the big deal? Okay, it wasn't it's 12 and 12, it was 18 and 6, let's say. Okay, so the old bread for 18 hours out of a 7-day week, they won't have rods for the last 18 hours. Not the end of the world, nothing's going to happen to them. Again, nothing will happen to them anyway, but assuming nothing's going to happen to them. The other 6, the first 6 hours of the new bread, new. Again, they're not like they're hotter in the first 6 hours than the rest. They were hot the whole time. So the first 6 hours, they didn't have any rods. Right after Shabbos, you go ahead and wear the rods, as we said yesterday. When you take them out, you put them right, you lay them on the floor right by the table. Therefore, right after Shabbos, you go ahead and you slide the rods. As we'll see in a second, you're going to pick up, you're going to lift up. And this goes back to our discussion yesterday, that assuming there was no rim. Right? You just lift them up. Assuming you look at it from this angle, you just lift them up, you slide the rod. Again, this is the bottom one. You're not doing any rods here. Yeah. But the second one, you just lift it up a little bit, slide the rods into the indentation, and then it's there. We still haven't gotten into why we have 28. Says the Gemara. So since it's not going to be a big deal, we don't docha Shabbos. But in a chanami, if it would go ahead and it would become moldy during those 6 or 18 hours, then we would have done the rods even on Shabbos. Kedetanya, Kate said, how would you do them? Nichnas me'erev Shabbos v'sham donu manichan l'arko shel shulchan. He would come in, the Kohen on erev Shabbos right before Shabbos, and he would go ahead and he would take them away and put them on the floor. Motzei Shabbos nichnas magbir rashel shel chala. He would pick up the heads of each of the new chalas umachnis kana tachteha v'chozer magbir rashel shel chala machnis kana tachteha. Again, he would go ahead and he would lift them up. Rashel shechalu machnis kana tachteha. So that's what he would do. Now, arba chalos tzricho shlosha kadim hal yona ena tzricha el shnayim lefi she'en alea masoi hatachtona ena tzricha kolika lefi shemunechas al tara shel shochan. So why exactly were there 28? Where do you get 28? So look at the picture. If you look carefully at the picture, you'll see that again, the bottom one, and again, there's 6 and 6. So the bottom one over here, there's 6 and 6. So we're just going to do the first half. So the bottom one is directly on the shulchan. How many rods do you need to support the bread on top of it? 3. How many do you need to support the next one? 3. 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12. The top one, since there's only one bread on top of it, you only need 2. 14. So you see 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. There were 14 here, and 14 here is 28. It's interesting though, because at the end of the day, if it was really holding it this much away from the bread on top of it, so there's no reason why, right? It's assuming that the ones on the bottom have more weight pushing down on them. It's not really true necessarily, because if there's a tiny bit of space, and the rod's holding the space, there's no more weight, whether there's 6 breads on top of it, or there's 20 breads on top of it, because they're not actually touching. So it sounds like they might have been touching even a tiny bit, which doesn't really go with what we said yesterday, but otherwise it makes no sense why you need 3 on the bottom and 2 on top. You should need either 2 the entire way or 3 the entire way. Again, if there's a tiny space, who cares how many are theoretically in the airspace above it? It's not like pushing down. It sounds like there was some type of a little bit of push. It means it was touching even a little bit, so when you have a lot of breads on top of it, you needed more. You needed to hold it more, but the top one, which has nothing on top of it, the top of the 6, which has nothing on top of it, was able to be supported by just 2. That's the rod. So you have, again, the bottom one, then you have 3, number 2, 3, number 3, 3, number 4, 3, number 5, 3, number 6, sorry, 2, and then number 6. So 3, 3, 3, 3, and 2.
We're assuming the rods don't bend at all.
Assuming that the rods don't bend. It sounds like the rods don't bend. Correct. Even though they might have bent a little bit. Maybe that's why. Maybe they bent a little bit. They were made out of like reeds or something, right? It sounds like...
No, they're gold. They're gold.
They were gold? Oh, they were? Okay, so then they were...
Gold is not strong anyways. It's pure gold. That's true. Pure gold is soft.
I know, but it's not about the air. It sounds like it's about supporting... It sounds like it's supporting the weight. Masoy is the weight. Just interesting.
You can do it without the rods, the weight.
No, the point is that if you didn't have the rods... If you didn't have the rods, then each lechem would be resting on the 2.5 tefach of the lechem. But it sounds like the rods were helping to take off some of that weight. But it does mention here, it sounds like they were still touching the bread underneath it a little bit, because otherwise, again, what would be the nafkamina if it's the top one or the bottom one? It would still have the same. That's what I understood. So it sounds like, right. Right. Interesting. Okay. Found that to be interesting. Says the Gemara. This is not the math part yet. Don't worry. Oh. Says the Gemara. So the bottom one was on the Taro Shel Shulchan. Fine. Tanan Hasam. Here we go. Put on your math caps or yeah. Says the Gemara. Tanan Hasam. Rabbi Meir Omer. We said, if you remember yesterday, we said that there's a machlokes. How big an amma is? Is an amma 5 tefach or 6 tefach? So the Gemara is going to say, Rabbi Meir Omer, Kol Amos Shahayu b'Mikdash. All of the amos that were in the mikdash, beinonis, were middle. That means 6 tefach. Chutz mimizbeach hazahav, the mizbeach hazahav, v'akeren v'asove v'hayisod. So take out this picture again that I told you about. Take out this picture. We're going to look at this picture the rest of the day. This is the outer mizbeach. The outer mizbeach, just for a little bit of an introduction, the outer mizbeach was 10 amos tall. Now again, as we'll see, what does that mean? That could either mean 50 tvachim, all the way to 60 tvachim. Or it could mean somewhere in between. Maybe part of the amos were 5 tefach amos, part of the amos were 6 tefach amos, but the minimum it could be was 50, and the maximum it could be is 60. If every single amma was 6 tefach amma, again, if you mix and match, and you have somewhere between 50 and 60. What was the breakup of the 10 amos? So the bottom amma was a yesod, which was also an amma width. Now again, you have the bottom amma was the yesod, and then the width, again, the ledge. The ledge, as we'll see, the entire bottom piece with 32 by 32 amos. Basically, you had a 32 by 32 amos thing here. Can I have the chumash a second, please? Then you had a 30 by 30 amos here, the second thing. And then you had 28 by 28 here. So you had basically, it went like this. Now, again, it points out in Zvachim, even though the Gemara here is not assuming the same, it points out in Zvachim that it was really flush. Like this, so there wasn't really room on all 4 sides. But the Gemara here is assuming that there's room on all 4 sides. That's based on the calculations. So right here you have this. This is what it looks like. So now this one on the bottom is 32 by 32. This is 30 by 30, and this is 28 by 28. Those are the measurements on the top over here. Now, over here, we're assuming that what? This is the yesod. This is an amma, and this part is the yesod. This is the height of the yesod, and then the width of the yesod is this part surrounding the thing here. That's the width of the yesod. This is also an amma. So the height is an amma, and the width is an amma. Again, this is concentrating on just this one piece over here being the yesod. So again, this is the height of the yesod, and this is the width of the yesod. So A is the height of the yesod, and B is the width of the yesod. What's this? This 5 amos is the height of the sovev. This is the ledge of the sovev, right? When he would go up the kevesh, he would walk around the sovev. This is where he would go around the sovev. You'd see he would stand here, and this is where he would do the throwing of the dam too. If you look at the 5 amos, on the top of the 5 amos, around here, halfway in the mizbeach was the chut, was the line around that splits the mizbeach in 2. He would throw it beneath for some of the blood and above for some of the blood. Now we're on the ledge over here. This is the top. This is the ledge of the sovev. Then this is 3 amos tall. This was nothing. This was just 3 amos tall. So now you have, again, you have 1 amma, 5 amos, and 3 amos is 9 amos. And then you would have, I know it's not exactly drawn to scale, you'd have 1 amma here, which was 1 amma by 1 amma on each corner being the keren. Okay? So now you have 1 amma. So now you have 3, you have 1,
10.
5, 3, and 1.
10.
Is 10 total. So from the top of the keren to the bottom of the yesod was 10 amos. But again, what we're discussing also, besides for the height, is the width. You had, again, this was the whole thing with 32 by 32, but what's showing in each thing is an amma, is 1 amma on each side. Right? Because again, if this yesod is 1 amma, the width, that means that on this side it's an amma, and this and this and this. So just if this was 32 by 32, how much is exposed? It makes sense. If you have 32 by 32 and this is 30 by 30, you have 2 by 2 exposed, which is 1 amma here, 1 amma here, 1 amma here, 1 amma here. And then if this goes up from 30 by 30 to 28 by 28, then you have 2 by 2, same thing, an amma on each side that's exposed. That's math, right? Just don't drop the keren. Okay, so that's the thing over here. That's what we're discussing now. So here's what we want to figure out. All of the ammas in the mikdash were 6 tefach ammas, except for the mizbeach, the inner mizbeach, hapnimi, and the yesod, the sovev, and the keren. Now what's complicated about this, which means that the rest of the mizbeach was what? Was 6 tefach ammas. So therefore what? Definitely the 3 amos here were 6 tefach ammas, the 3 amos that were here. The question is now, are we talking about the height of the keren and the yesod and the sovev were 5 tefach ammas? Are we speaking about the width? If it's the width, and then the heights are 6 tefach ammas, then you have 60 tvachim. Then you have 6, 6, right? Then you have 60. If the widths, if the heights are 5 tefach ammas, then how big is the mizbeach? Well, then you have 5 tefach, and then 5 ammas times 5 is 25, is 30, and then 1 times 5 is 35, and then the remaining 3 times 6 is what? 53 total, right?
How's 1 times 5, 35?
No, 5. This is 1 amma, which is again, which is 5 tefach. This is 5 amos. So 5 tefach is 25, is 30, and then you have 3 amos times 6 is 48, and then another 5 is 53. That's if you're going to do only the heights of those, because again, definitely these 3. Again, this is what I keep pointing to. That's what I wrote on my chart. These 3 amos on top. This is nothing. This is definitely not the yesod or the sovev. That's the top 3 amos, which is again the top of where it says a place of the pyre. That 3 amos height is definitely 6 tvachim. Those 3 amos are definitely 6 tvachim. So that's what we're dealing with over here. So the question becomes: the Gemara is going to originally assume, and then we're going to see otherwise. But originally it's going to assume that when it says that it's 5 tefachs, it's either all of the widths were 5 tefach or all of the heights of these 3 things were 5 tefach. And we'll do the math, and we'll see that it's not going to work out so gishmak. So it says in Gemara, right now, according to Rabbi Meir, everything in the mikdash was 6 tefach, except for either the width or the height or both of the yesod and the sovev and the keren. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Amas binyan shisha tvachim. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't argue. He just agrees that everything in the mikdash was 6. He just argues, v'shal kelim chamisha. He argues that the kelim were only 5. Now the kelim includes the sovev and the yesod and the keren. So what's he adding? The only thing that he's disagreeing with is that he's saying not only were the keren and the yesod and the sovev 5, the shulchan was also 5 tefach ammas, as was the aron. That's all that he's arguing about. All he's arguing is that he agrees. Everybody agrees that all of the measurements in the mikdash were 6. All agree that the measurements of either the height or the width or both of the keren and the yesod and the sovev were 5. All they're arguing about is that Rabbi Yehuda says that also all of the measurements of the shulchan and the aron were 5, and Rabbi Meir says no, the measurements of the shulchan and aron were like everything else, were 6. So let's just see that first, and then we'll discuss. So what's this based on? They both learn from one crow, which we're going to learn a few times. This is the outer mizbeach, amma, which was what? Amma v'tofeach. That's what the pasuk says. So again, the outer mizbeach, all of the things were 6 tvachim. Says the Gemara, v'cheik ha'ama, v'ama rochav, ugvula el svata saviv zeret ha'achad v'zeh gav mizbeach. Literally, this means the base is the 5 tefach amma, as is the amma of the width, and its border to its edge, 1/2 amma all around, and this is the top of the mizbeach. Again, all are 5 tefach ammas. Let's see what this is talking about. So it says in Gemara, cheik ha'ama zeh yesod. So again, the yesod, everybody agrees, is a 5 tefach amma. Whether it's the width or the height, we'll see. Amarochav zesovev. Everybody agrees that's a 5 tefach ama because this pasuk is talking about 5 tefach amas. Ugvulal svatasaviv zerad achad elu kranot. These are the kranot, the horns, which are also 5 tefach amas. Again, it's talking about an amma being half, so it's half an amma from the middle. Again, it's a 5 tefach amma. Zev gav mizbeach, zeh mizbeach hazav. Rabbi Meir savar. So now what's the argument? It says in the pasuk, again, v'zeh gav mizbeach. It says that this is the gav mizbeach. Again, this pasuk is also about 5 tefach amas, and then it says the word v'zeh. So it says Rabbi Meir savar, zeh hu ba'ama bas chamisha. That when it says zeh, this, it means only this pasuk is 5 tefach amas. Hakol amos kalim ba'ama bashesh. All other kalim, i.e. the shulchan and the aron, are going to be measured in 6 tefach amas. Says Rabbi Yehuda, no, Rabbi Yehuda savar kazeyu. Not that only this and those are different. Those are like this. So again, the question is only whether the aron and the shulchan are like this. This is definitely 5 tefach amas. Yesod, Keren, and the sovev are definitely 5 tefach amas, and the mizbeach hapnimi definitely 5 tefach amas. Everybody agrees to that. The question is only the shulchan and the aron. Are those only these are 5 tefach amas, and those are like everything else in the mikdash 6 tefach amas? That's Rabbi Meir. Or, as Rabbi Yehuda says, no, that those are like this. Just like this, the Keren and the Yesod and the Mizbeach HaPnimi and the Sovev are 5 tefach amas, so too the Shulchan and the Aron will also be 5 tefach amas. Kol amos Kalim will be 5 tefach, but again, everybody agrees that everything else is 6 tefach amas. It's only whether the Shulchan and the Aron, that's all they're arguing about. Is the Shulchan and Aron 5 tefach ama or 6 tefach ama? And it makes a difference because the Torah tells us in amos. The question is, how big is it? Do you measure with 6 tefach or 5 tefach? That's all they're arguing about, is the Shulchan and the Aron. But they all agree that everything else in the Mikdash, when you talk about the Mikdash being 187 amos long and 137 amos tall, that's all 6 tefach amas for sure. That's the regular. The given if I wake up in the middle of the night, tefach is 6. An amma is 6 tefach. The only question is that there are certain exceptions. How far are the exceptions? Everybody agrees that the Yesod and the Sovev and the Keren are 5 tefach amas. The only disagreement that they have is whether you count the Shulchan and the Aron as 5 tefach or 6 tefach. That's it. But let's go back to our point for a second. Yes. No, Rabbi, quick. Yeah.
I'm just confused. When the Torah used the word amma.
That's what we're trying to figure out. Trying to figure out when the Torah says amma.
Why is it not consistent across the board?
So they're assuming.
Noah.
Right.
I mean,
6.
So the standard Torah.
So
amma
Torah.
is 6.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. The problem is that in this pasuk here, that's the whole point. In this pasuk, on the bottom of Tzadi Zayin Aleph, when it talks about the kelim, ve'ela midos hamizbeach ba'amos, the outer mizbeach, amma vitofeach. It's that extra word, vitofeach. That's the question. That extra amma, 5, vitofeach. 1 second. No, the regular standard, the regular standard, I think the regular standard is 5. Regular standard is 5. Here it's amma vitofeach. The question is, what is amma vitofeach? What exactly is the 6? That's what it looks like. I think Rashi says that. Ba'ama beinus ye amma vitafeach. We're dealing with an amma beinonis. I'm not sure. Does it say 6 or 5 regular? I think it's 6 regular, right? 5 is regular? You're talking about everywhere else in the Torah? I'm not sure.
I'm trying to figure out what's the standard.
Amma beinonis is 6. Amma beinonis is 6. It sounds like the standard, according to what I'm thinking, is 6. Right? Ba'amas be'anis ye amma v'tofech da'amosa v'hein b'shel chamesh tahavi l'shel shisha amma v'tavach be'elu.
The small amma is 5, the medium is 6.
Right, so I think in general it's 6. The question becomes over here where it seems to be saying that this is special by these things, this is 5. I could be wrong, don't call me for the rest of the Torah, I don't know. But it sounds like in general it's 6, and then the exceptions are 5. So these are the exceptions. So now we're trying to figure out, well, these are the exceptions, fine, no problem. Are the exceptions also the Shulchan and the Aron, or are those part of the standard Amma Beinonis, but for sure the Keren, the Yesod, and the Sovev are exceptions, and those are 5 tefach amma. Now the problem is that the Torah tells us how big the Mizbeach is. So now we're going to have to do the math, and if we end up taking away a few tefachs from each of these parts of the Mizbeach, you're going to end up reverse engineering, you're going to end up short of what the Torah says. Because if in general, when the Torah talks about amos being 6 tefach amos, if you're claiming that some of these are only 5 tefach amos, then all the math is going to get mixed up, which is what we're going to discuss in a second. Okay, so let's just see in a second. So now again, we figured out Rabbi Meir, we figured out Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, Kasal kadaitach, miyasod v'at sovev ba'ama bas hei b'gova. So right now, we're assuming we're going to go with height. That's what the Gemara is saying. Now again, the Keren, the Yesod, and the Sovev are definitely 5 tefach something. Either their heights are 5 tefachs, their widths are 5 tefachs, or both are 5 tefachs. Now we're going to assume that just the height is 5 tefach. So again, if you're looking at it, the height would be this. This is the height of the yesod. This, which is 5 this is 1 amma. This is the height of the yesod. This is 5 ammas, which is the height of the sovev. This 3 amos is nothing. That's not the height of either one. And then the 1 amma, which is the height of the keren. So you're dealing with 1 amma, 3 amma, 1 amma, 5 amos, and 1 amma. That's a total of 5, 6, 7 of the 10. According to the way the Gemara is about to understand, 7 of those 10 ammas are going to be measured with 5 tefach measurements, and 3 of the 10 are going to be measured with 6 tefach measurements. Does that make sense? Yeah. That makes sense? 7 of the 10 will be measured with 5 tefach measurements, and 3 of the 10, just the 3, this Tehillim book, the 3 amos will be measured with 6 tefach amma, which is the standard. That's what we're saying, because again, you have the 1, the 5, this is the yesod, this is the sovev, so that 1 and that 5 both have to be 5 tefach ones, and then the 1 of this, of the keren, has to be a 5 tefach one as well. So you have 1 and 5, and 1 is 7, times 5 is 35 tefach, plus 3 times 6 is 18, it's 53 total. That's how tall the thing is. It's not 50, it's not 60, it's 53. Okay, says the Gemara, let's read it. But we're going to reject it. So you're going to think that what? Look at our chart here. From here, the yesod to where? To here, right? From the yesod to the sovev is what? From the yesod to the sovev is ba'ama bas he begova. Which is what? Again, the bottom 6. The 1 and the 5. The bottom 6 are going to be times 5 is going to be 30. So from the bottom to here, to this ledge, will be 30. Then you'll have another 18 is 48. And then another 5 is 53. Says the Gemara. From the yesod ve'ad rocha, that's the pasuk, until the sovev, be'ama bas chamisha. That's what you might have thought. Gova mizbeach kamavis. How much does it come out? What did I tell you? Eser amos. So how much is it? Now again, the Gemara is going to come. I don't know why it does this. The Rishonim ask. The Gemara for some reason complicate things, because really, the Gemara should be assuming what? Like I said, that this amma is 5. These 5 amos are 5 each, and this 1 amma of the keren is 5. For some reason, in the calculations right now, the Gemara assumes that this 1, the keren, is 6. And the Gemara is going to Rishonim say, because you'll see that the math doesn't work regardless. So let's just do it the way that the Gemara does it, even though I'm telling you that it seems to be 1 tefach off. So the Gemara says, what do you got here? The Gemara that the mizbeach was 10 amos tall, Eser amos, shis b'nei chamisha chamisha. Va'arba b'nei shisa shisa. 6 of those amos were 5 tefach each, and 4 of those amos were 6 tefach each. Which of the 6 were 5 tefach each? The bottom amma of the yesod, and then the 5 of the sovev. So those 6 times 5 is 30. You have 4 left times 6 is what? It's 24. 30 plus 24 is 54. It should really be 53, like I told you, because this is really 5, not 6. But the Gemara is assuming that this is 6 because it doesn't really matter. So now, how does it come out? Kamizbeach kamahave chamishin va'arba. The math works out. It's 54. Says the Gemara, palge de mizbeach kamahave. If the math is true and it's 54 total, then where's that middle line? Where's the chut hasikra that we see? What's half of 54? Esrim v'shiva, 27. Now, let's go backwards. Mikarnos v'yat sovev kamahave. From the top until this ledge was how much? 1 amma. And 3 amos is what? 4 amos times 6, 24 amos. So now if you're standing on the ledge, you have 24 above you. And how much is there total, we said? There's 54 total. So if you have 24 above you, how much is below you? 30. 24 above you. If you're standing right here, if I'm standing here on this plane, which again is the equivalent of, the sovev is equivalent of D in the picture. If I'm standing on D, I got what? I got 3 amos plus the keren on top of me. I got 4 amos on top of me times 6 is 24 on top of me. If the whole thing is 54, I got 30 below me. So I'm standing right here and I got 30 tefach below me. What's the problem with that? Well, then where's the sovev? Oh, sorry, where's the chut hasikra? If I got 24 above me and 30 below me, where's the chut hasikra? It's 3 tefach down. Right. Right? At 27. Right. Everybody see that? You look at the picture here. So you're standing on that ledge, which is a sovev. You're standing on D in the picture. You're standing on D, right? You're standing on D. You got the 3 amos, which is E, and the 1 amma, which is F. That's 4 amos times 6 is 24 above you. Now you got, I love this stuff. Now you got 30 beneath you, right? Now you got 30 beneath you. So now you got 30 beneath you. But if you have 30 beneath you and this thing is at 27, how many tefach are between your feet and the chud hasikra? 3 tefach.
Right.
That's beautiful. There's only one problem. Read the rest of the Mishnah. So how much is left? Eser v'shiva. Mikarnos v'atzavi kama ave esrim v'arba. Kama batzir lapalgi ha-mizbeach. How much is from your feet to the middle of the mizbeach, the chud hasikra? Talsa, 3 tvachim. Good? So again, if you're at the chud hasikra, you got 27 above you and 27 below you. If you're standing on the actual sovev, you got 3 tvachim underneath your feet. It's beautiful. There's only one problem. Which now we have another Mishnah that says, chud shel sikra, this line, what was the point of this line? So that for certain things like the chatas or for the olas of, you have to go ahead and you have to throw the damim al yonim on top of the line. The bottom of the line is the damim tachtonim. For a chatas of or for an ola, elahad detanya gabe olas of, there's only one problem. Because by the olas of, what does it say? Haya ola b'kevesh, you go up the kevesh, and where do you stand? You're standing on the sovev, you're standing right here on the art school chumash, and what are you doing? V'pana l'sovev v'balu l'keren jomis mizrachis, you come to the southeast corner, which is, here's west, here's east, here's north or south. So you're standing here, and what do? Umolek esro shomi mul arpa. You go ahead and you do malik on the back of the neck, umavdiel, and you separate the head from the body, umotzeas dam al ker mizbeach, and now you have to squeeze it onto the mizbeach above the line. So you're standing here, you got to squeeze it on top. You're on here on the sovev. What? You got to bend over and squeeze it down.
On an amma.
No.
You're standing on an amma.
You're standing on a ledge. You're standing on D. You're standing on D, and you got to go ahead and you got to squirt it what? You have to squirt it within 3 tvachim of yourself. Because again, if you're standing on here, 3 tvachim down is the line, the chud hasikra. This blood needs to go on top of the chud hasikra. So the Gemara, you should expect now, the Mishnah will tell you that you need to squirt this blood within 3 tvachim of your feet. Right? Within half an amma of your feet. A regular amma. We'll soon make you're not confuse us, please. Forget half an amma. Within 3 tvachim of your feet. So now the question becomes, let's see what the Mishnah says. If the Mishnah says you can do more than 3 tvachim, now you're stuck. Because now the math doesn't work out. If the Mishnah would say that you need to squirt it now within 3 tvachim of where you're standing, everything's fine. Shalom al Yisrael. Because you're standing at 30, this is 27, and you have 3 tvachim to squirt it, it's got to be above the line. Unfortunately, that's not what the Mishnah says. It says, which is how much? A regular standard amma is what? 6 tefach shera. So now it's telling me that I could squirt it up to 6 tefach beneath my feet. That's not true. Because now I'm 3 tefach underneath the line. That's why it doesn't matter if the Karen was 5 or 6. Because even if the Karen was only 5 tefach, and you do the math backwards, then you're still 2 tefach off. So you're either 3 tefach off or 2 tefach off. You're squirting it 2 or 3 tefachs below the line. Clearly the math that we did doesn't make sense. Because according to this Mishnah, when you're standing on the sovev, the math needs to be that when you're standing on the sovev, you still have 6 tefach or less to the middle of the mizbeach. Right? The facts is right now it's telling you that when you're standing on this sovev, you can squirt it up to 6 tefach beneath you. Which means that the middle of the mizbeach is 6 tefach beneath you. The way that our math worked right now, the middle of the mizbeach is only 3 tefach beneath us. Therefore the math clearly is off. And we need to add a few tvachim to where we are now. Says the Gemara, now again, you're going and you're squirting it, right? You're going ahead and you're squirting it under the 2 or 3 tefachs that's between you and the line. Ella, what does it mean? We're going to change everything. When we talk about the yesod and the keren and the sovev being 5 tefach amas, it's not talking about the height. The height was 60. And let's just do this outside for a second. The Gemara is going to do it, but now it's perfect lot, kosher. 100%. Why? If everything of the 10 amos is 6 tvachim, and we're not talking about the height at all, and it's only the width that's 5, so now do the math. You have an amma here, which is 6. You have 5 here, which is 30. So you have 6 and 30 is 36. Then you got 3 is 18 is what? 54. And 6 is 60. So now when you're standing here on the sovev, what do you got? What do you got? You got 6 and 30. It's 36. You're standing here, you have 36 underneath you, 24 on top of you. Oh, beautiful. If you have 36 underneath you, where's the chud hasikra? 6 tvachim underneath you. You can squirt up to 6 tvachim over there. So if you go by a 6 tefach amma, then everything makes perfect sense in terms of the height. Again, This is an amma, so this is 6. If we're assuming everything now, the 10 amos are each 6. So the entire height of the Mizbeach is 60. You have an amma here is 6. 5 ammas here is 30. 30 plus 6 is 36. You're standing on top of 36. You have 36 underneath you, which by definition means you have 24 on top of you. And now if you have 36 underneath you, and you bend down, you can go and you can squirt anywhere up to 6 tvachim, because again, the chud ha-sikra now is going to be where? Exactly in the middle, at 30. 30 is 6 tvachim underneath where you're standing. So if you assume that the keren and the yesod and the sovev, when it says it's a 5 tevachim, is not discussing the height at all, and it's talking about the width, then you're fine in terms of the height. So that's where we're going now. So now what are we going to assume? Again, we're trying to keep a glad and keeping everything the same. So now we're going to assume that what? That the widths of each of these things were 5 tefachamas. Well, now we're going to have a little bit of another problem. Says the Gemara. If you have to go, I understand. I just have to finish this, at least to the bottom of the daf. Says the Gemara. Elacheka ama knisa. It's the width. Ama rocha, which is a sovev, is knisa, the width. Gvul el svatas aviv is a knisa, the width. So now we're going to go back and just say what we said outside. Mizbeach kama havele, in terms of the height, shittin, it's 60. Exactly what we just said. Pagidi mizbeach kama have, where the chud ha-sikra was, is tlusin, 30. Mikarnos v'at sovev kama have, from the karnos going up until you're standing here is how much? 24. 6. And 3 times 6 is 18. That's 24. You're standing. You have 24 above you, 36 beneath you. You can go and you can squirt it up to 6. That works out perfectly. Kama batzir lapalgi de mizbeach. You have shisho, tanani, masal lamatim ragla, filu ama achas, which is 6. Kashera. If you go in and you squirt it even up to 6, it's going to be kosher. B'mayo kimta. So now what's the problem? Now you're playing with width. Now I'm going to give you a problem with your width. Right, everything would have been glad here. The problem is now the Gemara says the problem with the width. Why? B'knisa, with the width. You can't go ahead and do it with the width. Why? This is where it really gets confusing. If you look back at your picture, you see that there's 3 different measurements. Besides for the height, let's ignore the height for now. The bottom one with 32 by 32 amos. 32 by 32 amos. The one that went on top of it, the Torah says, were 30 by 30. The one that went on top of it was 28 by 28. Okay? And then, just to do the math, each keren took up an amma of width. So if you have 1 amma here and 1 amma here, then it's no longer 28 by 28. Now it's 26 by 26, right? The inner part is 26 by 26. And then another amma we'll see, which was where the Kohen walked around, another 2 amos in each direction, is 24 by 24. That's where it says 24 by 24 in the middle. Then between the 24, you have that dotted line. That's another amma in each direction, is 25 by 25. And then you have the other keren, it's 26 by 26. And then the keren, now adding another amma on each side, is 28 by 28. Does that make sense? If this is 28 by 28, the entire top thing, and you put a keren here, which is 1 by 1, and a keren here, which is 1 by 1, and a keren here, which is 1 by 1, you're taking away 1 amma from each side of the width. So you're taking away 2 ammas this way, 2 ammas this way. So 28 by 28 becomes 26 by 26. If you then take away another amma on all 4 sides for the place where the Kohen walks, 26 by 26 becomes 24 by 24. That's how you got that measurement of 24 by 24. The problem now becomes that when the Torah tells us, let's go to the bottom one, that it was 32 by 32. What's the Gemara, what's the Torah telling us 32 by 32? Just again, standard measurement is what? 32 by 32 is 6 tefach ammas, is 192 by 192. Right? The bottom base was 192 by 192. This is where we get the reverse engineering. Because what's the problem? Whatever's left from that 192 by 192, this will fill the next base. Now, according to what we thought, if you use 6 tefach ammas, there's no problem. 192 by 192. If you use a 6 tefach amma again, and assuming that there's 6 tefach here, and 6 tefach here, and 6 tefach here, and 6 tefach here, right? 1 amma on each side, then what do you get? 192 times 192 minus 6 on each side. I mean, you take away 12. 6 over here and 6 over here is 12 from the length and 12 from the width. Is 180 by 180. What's that? That's 30 by 30. Perfect. Right? 30 by 30. What's 30 by 30? 180 by 180. If you go ahead and you take away an amma here, an amma here, an amma here, an amma here, 180 minus 12 is what? 168 by 168. 168 by 168 is what? 168 by 168 is 28 by 28. That's perfect. The problem is, if you start telling me that these ammas were not 6, but they were 5, now all of a sudden, again, I'm just saying this outside to make it clear, if these are 5, then you're not taking away 192 minus 12. You're taking away 192 minus 5 and 5, 10. 192 and 2 is 1, that's 182 by 182 is the next piece. When you tell me that this is 30 by 30, it's not 30 by 30. 30 by 30 is 180 by 180. This is really, again, it's reverse engineering, this is really 180 and 2 tefachs, by 180 and 2 tefachs. And now when you go ahead and do the reverse engineering furthermore, now you've already taken away 2 tefachs, right? If this now becomes a tefach smaller on each side because it's not 6, it's really 5, now this is no longer 180 by 180, or it's no longer 182 by 182. Again, I don't want it to get complicated, but now this is no longer 28 by 28 filling it up. It's 28 plus 4 tefachs because of the 2 tefachs here. 1 tefach, and then there's also the 1 tefach that you lost here. Now it's not 28 by 28. It's really 28 and 4 tefachs by 28 and 4 tefachs, etc. So again, I don't want to get too into it, but that's the point, is that it only works if you do consistently 6 tefach,
What if you measured 5 times 32? Why are you measuring?
Because you can't do 5 times 32, because it's only that 1 amma of the yesod, only that 1 amma that's sticking out, that we're considering it to be 5 tefach.
How do we know the rest of it is not also 5?
Because the Gemara is saying that's because that's not considered to be the yesod. The yesod is only the little part that's a protrusion. So therefore, you end up, if everything was 5, it's not a problem. Then you just do 5 times 32 and 5 times 30 is not a problem. Oh, the proportions are fine. It becomes a problem when you take away a tefach from each side. Now the stuff that reverse engineering, as the Rabbi said, is filling in is no longer 30 by 30. Now it's going to be 30 and 2 tefach and 30 and 2 tefach. That's a basic idea. And therefore, you can't suggest that the widths are different than the rest of the width. That 2 of the 32 amos are really 5 tefach widths, and the other 30 amos are 6 tefach. The math doesn't work out. That's the basic idea without getting too technical. So let's see it. Says the Gemara. Shisha, utnan, you're fine. Hatnan, mizbeach hayesh 32 al 32 ala amma v'kanes amma zehu yisod. Again, it's 1 amma height by 1 amma wide. Nimsa shloshim al shloshim. That's what the Gemara says. Shloshim ushnei tvachim havi. Like I told you, reverse engineering. It doesn't leave you 30 by 30. It leaves you 30 and 2 tvachim by 30 and 2 tvachim. Then what? Then v'su ala chamesh v'kanes amma. Now if you go up another 5 amos and then you go in and you indent 1 amma, what's that? Nisrim etzrim mishmona alesim mishmona. It's not 28 by 28. It's esrim mishmona va'arbe tvachim have. It's 28 plus, again, the original 2 that you saved on the bottom, plus the new original 2 that you're saving with these 5 again by 4. So now it's 28 and 4 and 28 and 4. If you say, okay, so we ignored it. 30 by 30 is around. 28 by 28 is approximate. It's really 28 and 4 tvachim by 28 and 4 tvachim. It's really 30 and 2 tvachim by 30 and 2 tvachim. Says the Gemara, Makom karnos amma mizev nimsa esrim v'shisha lesrim v'shisha. Now go to the top. What do we say the very top, the maracha is? Really the top is what? So the top is supposed to be 28 by 28, right? So now if you tell me it's 28 by 28, the top, well now if each of these Karen takes up things, how much are you taking up? Now it's really not 28 by 28, it's really 26 by 26. But it's not really 26 by 26. It's 26 and 6 tvachim by 26 and 6 tvachim, which is what? 27 by 27. Because you save 2 tvachim here, and 2 tvachim here, and 2 tvachim here, a total of 6 tvachim, which is, again, an amma. So you end up, it's not 28 by 28, the top. It's really 26 by 26, plus the extra space that you're adding is 27 by 27. Says the Gemara, Nimsa Esrim V'Shisha V'Shalesrim V'Shisha Esrim V'Sheva Havu. It's really 27 by 27. Low doc, we're not so precise. A little amma here, a little amma there. Says the Gemara, I don't understand, that's fine. But now you told me again that the top with the kerens, that means a space which is considered to be the space inside of the kerens, where this little dotted line is, where it says 24 by 24 plus, again, an amma in each direction, is really 26 by 26, which we're adding another amma, is really 27 by 27. Says the Gemara, Makom hilach raglei gloam al mizev al mizev nimsa esrim va'arba al esrim va'arba. It's really 24 by 24. It's not. Makom aracha esrim v'chamisha have. Really, that whole thing where it says 24 by 24 is really 25 by 25, because we add another amma. And that's fine. So you could just say that we were low dak. We were approximate. So if you want to say that when it says the place of the pi or makom hamaracha, which is really 24 by 24, is really in mitzius what, 25 by 25, but nunu, it was low dak, you can say that. You can say that it wasn't exact, except when you have a pasuk that says it was 24 by 24. It means until now, when you tell me it was 30 amos by 30 amos, 32 amos by 32 amos, you could say, well, it's really 30 amos and a little bit, 30 amos and a little bit. Right. I'm not exactly sure why that's okay. But you tell me 30 amos and a little bit, 30 amos and a little bit. But to say that it's 25 versus 24, if you say it's 25 by 25 versus 24 by 24, that's a problem. If you say 30 by 30 means 30 and a little by 30 and a little, that's fine. 32 by 32 is 32 and a little by 32 and a little, that's fine. But to say that 24 by 24 is really 25 by 25, that you can't say. And the pasuk clearly says it was 24 by 24. Where do you see that? It was 12 by 12 from the radius. What's 12 by 12 times 2? 24 by 24. From the middle of the square, it was 12 amos in each way. What's 12 amos in each way from the middle of a square? That's 24 by 24 total. So now we have a little bit of a problem. So now the problem becomes, you tell me the top of the Mizbeach was really 25, right? But now again, so that's one problem that we have. The second problem that we have is that according to our calculations that we've done, again, will be done in a second using reverse engineering, the Mizbeach was not really 32 by 32. There's an amma that's missing because again, each of those, what you thought were 6 tvachim spaces are really 5 tvachim spaces. So if you take away 5 tevach spaces on the base level, and if you take away 2 tvachim on the base level, and 2 tvachim on the next level, and 2 tvachim on the next level, then the Mizbeach is really 6 tvachim shorter than it seems, which is 1 amma. Therefore, when it said it's 32 by 32, it's really what? 31 by 31, which is beautiful. There's only one problem. Now you go to the next picture, which is this picture, which gives you the outline of the entire temple. Well, we know it's 187 by 135. That's assumed that the altar is 32 by 32, or at least 32 across. If you tell me it's only 31 across, then you're missing an amma in the measurements of the entire Beis Hamikdash. Says the Gemara, that's what it ends with today. Imkain Rav Chala Azara. If therefore we have, again, the Azara is longer than we thought, Ditnan, Kol Azara Haisa Orech Meo Shmonim V'Sheva, like you see in the picture there. The Azara was 187 long, Al Rochav Meo Shloshim V'Chamesh, by 135 tall. Again, north-south was 135, east-west was 187. Therefore what? Mimizrach Lamar of Meo Shmonim V'Sheva, like I just said. Now, Makom Drisas Ragli Yisrael Achades Re'ama, like you see in the picture. The first 11 amos were Israelites' courtyard. Again, let's assume all these amos, for argument's sake, are 6 tevach, but who cares? Right now we're just dealing with amos. So you got 11 amos of the Israelites' courtyard. Now you got what? Drisas Umakom Drisas Ragli HaKohanim Achades Re'ama. So the Ragli Yisrael, the Israelites' courtyard is 11. The Kohanim's courtyard is 11. That's 22. Hamizbeach Shloshim Ushtayim is 32. What's that? 54. 54. Ha-Heichal Mea Amma. Now the Heichal is 100. From the beginning of the Ulam to the back of the Holy of Holies. That's 100 and what? So now you got, again, you got 11 and 11 and 32. Then you got Bein Ulam the Mizbeach Esim Ushtayim Amma. Another 22 between the Mizbeach and the Ulam. So now you got 22 and 20 is 44 and 32 is 76. Then you got 100 from the Ulam to the back of the Holy and Holies is 176. And then you got what? Achore. And then you have Achadas Re'ama, Achore Beis HaKaporos. 176 and 11 behind the Holy of Holies is 187. So what happened? Now, the only one problem. You're telling me that's 187, and you're telling me really that what? That the Mizbeach was 31 by 31. Now you only got 186 that's accounted for. Says the Gemara, L'cheika Amma Begova, Amma Rochav Knisa, Gvula El Svata Saviv. So what's the Gemara going to do? If you thought we were done, we're not going to go continue tomorrow. We're not going to continue now. The Gemara says what? The Yesod, when it says there was a 5 tefach amma, the Yesod, that was in height. The Yesod, it was a 5 tefach amma in height. The Sovev was a 5 tefach amma in width. And the Gevula shel El Svata Saviv, the Keren, was a 5 tefach amma in height. So now we're switching it and we're saying instead of them all being 5 tefachs in height or all being 5 tefachs in width, some of them were 5 tefachs in height, some of them were 5 tefach ammas in width, and I think that's enough for today. Shkoyach, everyone.